This meeting to order and welcome everyone. This is an unusually beautiful, glorious day for November 8th, and welcome and thanks for taking the time for this meeting this afternoon. I will call the meeting to order and with the adoption of the agenda, and I have a recommendation moved by Lisa and seconded by Sherry that the agenda for the November 8th, 2021 regular meeting of council be accepted and passed. All in favor? Thank you very much. We'll go around. Councillor Hearn, do you have any pecuniary interest?
No, I do not.
Councillor Yake?
No.
Councillor Burke?
No.
I do not have any either, but if you do find the agenda, if you do, just please let us know and we'll exclude you and move on. And with that, we are right into the presentations from SLB Inc. And we're welcoming Amon and Elaine back to our meeting again today. And I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Yake and seconded by Councillor Hearn. Actually, I probably should wait till their presentation is done, right, Karen? All
Yes,
right.
correct. Yes.
I will now I will turn the floor over to Elaine and Amon. So welcome to both of you and thanks for attending. The floor is yours.
Oh. Does everyone see? Oh, does everyone see the presentation now? Yes.
It says you don't see it now. It just says that you're starting to share your screen.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There we are.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for having us. We've been working with the township staff for the past about 6 months to pull together an asset management plan on core infrastructure in accordance with the Ontario Regulation 588-17, which is the regulation for asset management plans for municipalities. As you can see, the timeline for the regulation was to have an asset management policy, which the township did pass by the 2019 deadline. And the deadline that we're meeting with this asset management plan is actually for July 2022. So we're making good time on that. It's to have asset management plans for core assets, meaning roads, bridges, water, wastewater, and stormwater assets. And then there will be future deadlines, one in 2024, to have asset management plans covering all of the assets. So on top of what the core assets we're talking about today, there will be buildings and parks and other things like that. By 2025, municipalities will have to have asset management plans that cover all the assets and declare target levels of service and recognize the costs and risks associated with meeting those proposed levels of service. So in addition to meeting the OREG 588-17 requirements, today's asset management plan that we're presenting will also help the municipality meet its strategic priorities and its AM policy and asset management improvement strategy and roadmap. So all of this is aligned and will help the municipality meet its service delivery goals. As we mentioned before, an AM policy has already been approved, and it lays out the principles and requirements that the township wants to meet in terms of how it manages its assets, for example, sustainably and with a holistic view of the asset life cycle. And then the asset management improvement roadmap speaks to what types of planning process and technology improvements are needed to help the municipality make better decisions going forward. And in addition with the AM plans, the asset management improvement strategy roadmap, also those two are key pieces that drive budgeting. So the asset management plan first starts off by explaining what the township owns. So here you can see a summary of the assets that are within the 4 different service areas that are the focus of this asset management plan. So you can see that more than $200 million of replacement value sits in the transportation assets, which includes the roads, bridges, sidewalks, street lights, traffic signals, and so on. And then there are also underground pipes in stormwater, along with a few stormwater ponds and assets to manage those, clean the water and treat the water. And then there's also 2 water systems, one in Mount Forest and one in Arthur, as well as 2 wastewater systems, again, in the two different communities. So you can see the breakdown of the replacement values of both, along with just a description of the types of assets and the scale of the assets in those different systems. The next question that the asset management plan aims to answer is, what condition are the assets in? So you can see here a histogram that shows the proportion of assets in very good, fair, poor, and very poor condition, along with a short column of assets that are in unknown condition. So in that case, it's mainly due to a lack of installation year data or condition data. So you can see that 80% of the assets are in fair condition or better, and 15% are in poor or very poor condition, which is fairly normal. Just if you consider the life cycle of an asset, you're always going to have some assets cycling through poor and very poor. What we're trying to do in this asset management plan is to have a good handle on which of those assets are in poor or very poor condition, and make very deliberate decisions based on risk exposure as to which assets are prioritized for improvement and renewal. So some of the assets in very poor condition are about 1.5 kilometers of gravel road, 200 meters of paved road, and we can get into this in more detail shortly. 2 bridges, 7 culverts, and some cast iron pipes that need to be replaced in the water system. I know that the council has been looking at different options for water tower replacement and expansion. So those are being looked at. None of these are surprises to council or to staff. These assets are already in multi-year capital plans and have been discussed already. The next question that the asset management plan considers is what levels of service does the township provide? So at this stage in the evolution of asset management planning, according to the regulation, municipalities are really just reporting on current performance, current level of service being provided. And by 2025, municipalities will be required to set target performance. So I'll just go through some examples of the level of service metrics or indicators. In the Ontario regulation defines a certain number of indicators that must be reported on by all municipalities. So here are 2 of them: description of the road network and description of traffic that is supported by the municipal bridges. And in terms of a description of the road network, we have the asset management plan provides a map view. There are also technical levels of service. For example, the number of lane kilometers of arterial, collector, and local roads in the network as a proportion of square kilometers of the municipality, of area of the municipality. So these are probably not metrics that are not going to have a target per se, but by reporting the current performance, the municipality will be able to monitor the change from this benchmark number that is being reported right now. The average pavement condition index value, you can see for paved, surface treated, and gravel roads, all are in fair or good condition. And the number of bridges with loading restrictions, there are currently 3 bridges out of 102, so that's about 3%. And the average bridge condition index is about 70, 71. So again, that's good. And these are all metrics that are required by the OREG. The township has also reported in the asset management plan additional level of service indicators, just to give another lens on, for example, state of good repair. So this is 93% of the transportation assets are in fair or better condition, and that is a different way of looking at, whereas average condition can, with that you can't really see how many are in poor condition, because those get averaged out by those that are in very good condition. So here, this indicator helps you understand what is in fair or better condition, which is probably more important. And then there are also a couple of indicators there related to sidewalks. So this gives us an idea of how many sidewalks, or what proportion of sidewalks need to be widened for accessibility reasons, and potentially a need for increased connectivity of sidewalks. In terms of water, the water system, again, the OREG requires a certain number of indicators. So again, it starts with a descriptive one. Who are the user groups served by the water systems, and do these areas have fire flow? Are there any boiled water advisories, and so on? So there's and water main breaks. So there's a descriptive portion. We found based on the master plan technical updates, there is a 200-meter section of Cork Street between Waterloo and Princess that requires increased flow to meet fire flow needs. And again, that is something that's already in your multi-year capital plan to address. And then there are technical, more quantitative versions of the same indicators. So what are the percentage of properties connected to the municipal water system? Right now, it's about 66% percentage with fire flow. So we subtracted the 6 properties that are affected by the fire flow, the low flow on that short segment there. So it's, again, still about 66%. And the number of connection days affected by boil water advisories or water main breaks, there have been none in the last 3 years. So you can't really get better than that. And then percentage of assets in a state of good repair. In the water system, it's about 63%. In the wastewater system, again, we have the descriptive indicators. And in terms of quantitative indicators, there's about 64% connected to the municipal wastewater system. Number of backups that have occurred in the past 3 years. And again, obviously we don't have the complete numbers for 2021. So looking through 2018 to 2020, it's 4, 2, and 2, and the number of effluent violations per year. And these, of course, staff are aware of these and are monitoring these. In terms of stormwater assets and stormwater service, the township sits across actually 3 watersheds. So there's the Maitland River watershed over here, and then you can see there's Saugeen River watershed up top, which includes Mount Forest, and then in the sort of southeastern side of the township, you have the Grand River watershed. And this is a map that was provided by the Grand River Conservation Area. So they were able to give us, indication of the number of buildings in the floodplain. We were not able to get the same information for the other 2 watersheds. So we weren't able to report on the technical levels of service that were required by the OREG. So that's percentage of properties resilient to a 100-year storm, and percentage of municipal stormwater resilient to a 5-year storm. So at this point, there is a recommendation to either build a model, a stormwater hydraulic model, or or hire consultants to conduct the analysis to support future asset management plan reporting that's required. So what, after looking at all this, what are the improvements that are needed over the next 10 years? And the asset management plan is really a document that aims to bring together all of your infrastructure needs so that you can see them all in one place and prioritize them all through one lens. Of course, right now we're only focusing on the 4 major service areas, but in the future you'll have this type of information. The asset management plan will include it for all of your assets. So this particular slide focuses on the expansion and upgrade needs. And there are, there's $38 million of expansion and upgrade needs identified for the next 10 years. So that includes additional road, water, storm, and wastewater links or expansions for new development. And those needs are, they're forecast for the next 10 years. Of course, they're development dependent, so they may not happen within that timeline, depending on how fast development happens. As we mentioned, there's a need for certain stormwater studies, and there's also a need for widening of water and wastewater pipes, including the that fire flow need on Cork Street, as well as widening of some very narrow pipes these were all identified in the technical updates of the master plans for both water systems. There's a need for replacement of the water towers in Arthur with a new tower, and that's been discussed in council already. And as well as development of a new water source, so exploration for a well in Arthur and construction of a new water tower in Mount Forest. And there's also, of course, the expansion of the Arthur wastewater treatment plant. Phase 1 is finishing, is underway right now, finishing soon, and then phase 2 will continue. So that's all included in this number. In addition, there's also a need to renew your existing assets. So the total value of those needs is about $70 million over the next 10 years. And there's a summary here of the types of renewals needed. So a lot of that is in the gravel roads, simply because you have a large quantity of gravel roads, renewal of stormwater mains, renewal of or replacement of cast iron pipes in Arthur and Mount Forest, renewal of well assets, recoding the standpipe. And so in June, council allocated some funds to that effort, and replacing asbestos cement pipes and maintenance holes in Arthur. And again, renewing assets in sewage pump stations, and then the Arthur lagoons will need to be renewed along with the Mount Forest wastewater treatment plant. In terms of operations and maintenance costs, this gives you a historical look at the costs since 2018, and as well as the 2021 budget. Obviously, we don't have the actuals yet for 2021, but you can see sort of the expenditure levels across the 4 major service areas, and it's been pretty steady around 5 million. So this is the amount that we're using to forecast out the future needs and for operating and maintenance costs, as well as adding a small amount each year to accommodate growth assets. So addition of new roads, addition of stormwater mains and sidewalks. There was no addition for water and wastewater operating budget to accommodate those growth assets because township staff indicated that the current budget is likely enough to absorb that amount until the township is able to get more accurate estimates of future operating budget needs through a work order system. So in summary, considering all of the expansion and upgrade needs, the renewal needs averaged across the 10 years, as well as the operating and maintenance needs, these total about $16.5 million per year, which is about 5 million more than the average spend for the last since 2018, the average spend and budget. So it's basically showing that there's a need for increased funding to to conduct all of the work that has been identified. Now, these costs, there are options to consider. These costs may be adjusted by looking at different life cycle strategies, adjusting service level standards, or prioritizing work on very high or high risk assets, which means basically possibly deferring work on lower risk assets. And there are also options to raise revenues, for example, through taxes, user rates, development charges, stormwater levy, or additional grants. So going forward, the next steps include development of the asset management plan for non-core assets by 2024. So these are all regulatory requirements. And then incorporating a proposed level of service for all assets or service areas by 2025. And then updating the asset management plan at least every 5 years. And also reviewing the progress of implementing the asset management plan every year by July 1st. So that way council will have a good idea every year of what renewals have been done and so on, and continuously have an idea of the state of the infrastructure. And in terms of continuous improvement for the asset management program, there are some data improvements that can be made that will really streamline the effort to pull this type of information together. So establishing an authoritative database for asset management planning, establishing data management processes to keep that data up to date, implementing a maintenance management or work order management system, which will track work orders and help the municipality understand exactly how much labor, materials, equipment are being spent to sustain the assets, to operate and maintain them. Implementing an asset management decision support system so that staff can efficiently pull together these types of analysis and forecasts. We already talked about the need for a stormwater model or stormwater analysis to support reporting on that OREG requirement, level of service requirement. And also it will be some effort, and there will definitely be council input required to establish level of service targets for that future, the 2025 asset management plan. So, Mr. Chair, that's the end of the presentation.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Elaine. I'll open the floor to the councillors and staff for any questions, comments.
Elaine, if you could just stop your screen share, then
I can do that.
Chair McCabe.
I'll be able to see who has raised their hand, so to speak.
Okay, wait.
Thank you, Elaine.
All right.
Great, thank you. Very thorough presentation, and thanks for that. And thank you, Iman, as well. Any questions, Councillor Burke, Councillor Yeager, Councillor Hearn? Seeing any, I have a couple of comments. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Not a question, more or less just a comment, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of information there and a lot to soak in, and I think it's gonna take time, and it's gonna take I guess the political will to move forward with this plan. I mean, it has to be done. We know that it has to be done, but it's going to take a lot of work on behalf of our staff and council and other people to make it happen. But there is a lot of work. It's a good report. There's certainly a lot of information in there, and thank you for presenting it the way you did.
Thanks, Dan. Any other comments or questions, Sherry or Lisa? Go ahead, Lisa. You're on mute.
Sorry, trying to be polite. Yeah, I agree with Councillor Yake. There is an awful lot of material there, and I'm glad that you guys went through it and not me. The numbers are mind-boggling, but I do really like planning. When you do a planning exercise like this and you have a roadmap, when you need to deviate from the roadmap, you kind of know where to fall back on. You've got your plan B, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is a really good thing moving forward.
Thank you, Lisa. Councillor Burt?
No, I just echo the comments that have already been made. This is the second time we've seen this report, so it's made it even a little bit more clear the second time around. And I think this tool is really going to help us in the discussions to come with budget for not just this year, but future budgets as well.
Thank you. Yes, it's interesting to see it all laid out on what the township actually is consisting of: roads, water, you put everything together in a nice snapshot. Thanks for that, Elaine. And I think it would probably surprise some of our residents to see the value of what we have, the value of what it costs to upkeep it, and then what we need to build for the future. And I think a lot of effort has gone in with Elaine and Ramon and our staff. So thank you very much for that. Like seeing this as Councillor Burke has said for the second time, I wouldn't say we're in that bad of a shape for where we are, what we're already planning for, and in the future that lies ahead. I think, would you agree with that, Elaine? You've probably done a few of these for different municipalities, and I like to toot the horn of our staff and their dedication to our township as well.
Absolutely. So I would like to thank, of course, Adam for leading this effort, and also Matt Aston and his team, Corey and Dale. They are absolutely on top of the infrastructure. They know it like the back of their hand. We received the report is evidence-based and it uses data. They also know a lot of information far beyond what's in the data right now, and that's a testament to their incredible knowledge of the township. It's also an opportunity for the township to move toward, I guess, technology and data systems that will help centralize that information and make the knowledge corporate knowledge.
Great, thank you for that. Aman, sorry, I should have asked you if you have any questions or any additions to the presentation.
No, I think, Mr. Chair, this is an opportunity for the town to take advantage of the window of opportunity that it has right now to stay on top of its infrastructure gap. If we look at comparable municipalities and other municipalities, they're in much worse condition and the infrastructure gap is much bigger. And you have a window of opportunity to get on top of this before you get too far out and it becomes very difficult to close that infrastructure gap.
Great, thank you. And that's a good shot in the arm, I think, for staff and like you said, Elaine, the knowledge of our managers across the board and staff in general. And I would even say maybe even as far up as the CAO to keep things in working condition, and you know, you don't want to let things go too far before it becomes that much more costly. And yeah, it costs a lot of money to keep things in check, but not doing any of this upgrade or not doing any of the maintenance just further puts the problem out into the future, and it's that much more expensive. So I thank you both again for joining us, and thanks again for the presentation, Elaine and Aman. No other questions. I have a recommendation here, excuse me, moved by Councillor Yake and seconded by Councillor Hearn, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the 2021 Asset Management Plan, Transportation, Stormwater, Water, Wastewater, and further that the Council endorse the Asset Management Plan as presented by SLBC Inc. All in favor? Thank you. And again, thank you very much, Elaine and Aman, for joining us this afternoon, and hopefully you can enjoy the good weather for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Have a great
Bye.
day. Bye.
Thank you.
Our next presentation, excuse me, is from Aronia Melgar, and she has just come onto our screen. So I will pass this over to you, Aronia.
Thank you.
Rania, are you going to share your screen? Do you have your presentation, or do you want me to put it up?
Oh, no, I don't have it. Sorry, I wasn't aware of that.
So do you want it up, or are you just going to speak to it?
I was just going to speak to it.
Okay.
That's what-
Go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. Through you, Mr. Chair. So the report outlines the municipal requirements set out in the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act and Ontario Regulation 380-04, and how the township has fulfilled these requirements for 2021. So first of all, the program committee, the township has an established program committee. We met virtually on April 20th this year to discuss the program. So that includes the hazard identification risk assessment, emergency response plan, the training needs, the proposed annual exercise, review of the interim after action review for COVID-19, and public education. The minutes from the committee were attached. So the committee is being updated to identify a chair by title and to remove the as designated or alternate language as required by the province to continue to meet compliance. So this report is being brought to council today, later on. And in terms of the emergency response plan, so the new plan was adopted last fall. Any updates that we have to the plan, we're going to wait until the final after action report following for COVID-19 is done in 2022 to make any of those changes. The only thing that's been updated is Appendix C has been added to the plan to clarify the titles listed in Section 8.3 responsibilities of MECG members by municipality, and that's also just required from the province to continue to meet compliance. In terms of training, like the guidance we received from 2018 and 2019 from Ontario Emergency Management, it was the same for 2021. So because of the pandemic, we did most of our training virtually, but we were able to offer the basic emergency management course, IMS 100, Scribe, Municipal 511, and we're really looking forward to 2022 to hopefully do more training and it be in person. In terms of the annual emergency management exercise requirement, that was completed virtually as well on September 30th. And the objectives of that were really to test out the new aspects of the emergency response plan and the EICS virtual emergency operations center software we have. So that just gave the members a chance to test that out and use that and get comfortable with that software. So some of the recommendations that came out of that was, first of all, they liked the EICS to be able to use it. There's just some changes we need to do to improve the functionality of that, provide more guidance, more procedures on how to use each of the functions, and deal with some of those glitches we encountered. But we're meeting with EICS later this month to discuss those recommendations and those changes we'd like to see. It was a bit tough to track multiple screens in a virtual exercise. So you had the Zoom screen, you also had the EICS screen, and maybe you had another screen up too. So that was a limitation of that. So we're hoping we can go back to in person next year, or even do maybe a hybrid, just to give folks the opportunity to do that in person again. So in terms of public education, continued with working and collaborating with Wellington Dufferin and Guelph Public Health on COVID-19 information and resources. And then throughout Emergency Preparedness Week this year, we did something new where our emergency management program coordinator organized many virtual presentations to elementary schools across the county in collaboration with OPP, GWPS, and local fire departments on how students could be ready for anything. And then we also put together 250 emergency preparedness bags that were provided to the township and Minto Fire Services for their event, Safe Kids Day in a Box. So that was wonderful. And we continued our regular public education through the Wellington Advertiser, social media, and the Highway 6 billboards as well. And all those were focused doing the Do One Thing campaign that's listed there. In terms of critical infrastructure, there was just a small amendment that I had to make. So initially we were planning to complete the transfer to just the common operating picture by the end of 2021. But the county's GIS and mapping has moved to ArcGIS recently. So that's just caused a little bit of a delay because we have to transfer all the data over. So we're hoping to finish that by early 2022. And that's actually really great because the ArcGIS is a lot quicker, it's a lot faster, it's a lot more usable. So we're really looking forward to that. So in conclusion, the Township of Wellington North has fulfilled the mandatory municipal requirements set out in the Emergency Management Civil Protection Act and Regulation 380-04 for 2021. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you very much for the whole presentation and the report. Any questions or comments for Urania? Go ahead, Councillor Hearn.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, Urania, for helping us to guide us through the last, I guess, year and a half. I did take part in the simulation exercise that you did, and I have to say I didn't do the best at it. Thank goodness for good staff to help me through it. But our staff were wonderful. I agree that there were kind of a few communication glitches, and it takes a bit of getting used to, and I'm confident that that will happen. For those of you that I think maybe it outlined the exercise in there, it was an ice storm, and I don't know whether you had this pre-planned, but the first thing in the exercise was a transport truck that went off the road. Well, it ended up right on the hydro pool right in front of my house. So I mean, I was supposed to be the head of council, and the truck was right. See, you couldn't have done that any better. Thank you, Urania.
Good simulation.
Yeah, just like in real life, right?
Thanks very much, Lisa. The target education for the whole year, Urania, what as like members of council, what can we do aside from or on top of what you're doing and what staff in Wellington North are doing? What can we do to promote this, to get it to our residents even more so?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So really, if you can share that information, what we share on social media, if you'd like. We also do tons of other, advertising in community, brochures that go out, or fall brochures, that kind of thing. We can create little sort of graphics for you if you'd like, if you have like a newsletter or something, or an email that you send out to the public that you'd like to see. That's always encouraging. And then really just encouraging folks to participate in that Emergency Preparedness Week event. So we did a lot of posts on social media, but we also had a contest there where folks could win a 72-hour kit. So that's some way to get folks interested and excited about being prepared as well.
Great, yeah, we have a pretty good Twitter feed and Facebook and Instagram, even with Wellington North Fire as well. So anything that you can give to us that we can send out to public, the rest of the residents here, obviously more than welcome to keep sharing that. The car kits, are they handed out from Township? And this sounds maybe, or is it the Wellington North Fire Department, or who hands those out, and how, for our township, how many would be allocated, I guess, for our township that we can hand out to residents?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. They're like like safety car kits.
Yeah. I think it was
Um,
out in November, I think I saw it. I'm just curious, that's all.
I'm not sure that it's done through our office. We share winter driving safety information, and I think we had put some resources aside sort of for OPP during the
Okay.
winter, but I'm not sure if it was specific car kits. I'm not sure if the CAO might be able to help there.
So yeah, through
sorry,
you,
go ahead. And sorry,
Chair.
Urania, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Councilor McCabe, I think really the education part is more what comes from emergency management in terms of you should have a car kit, and they indicate
I
what
see.
should be included in the car kit itself as opposed to providing the kit itself. So just
Very
for
good.
clarity.
All right. Sorry, thanks for that. Thanks for that clarification. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Yake, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North hereby receives report number EM 2021-001 Annual Emergency Management Program Report regarding the status of the Township's Emergency Management Program for 2021 for information. And further, that the Council accepts the annual status report of the Township's Emergency Management Program for 2021. Any more questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Urania, for another great report and very detailed. So thanks very much for that. All right. Moving down the agenda, we will have to recess and move into a public meeting. And I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Yake and seconded by Councillor Hearn that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North recess the November 8th, 2021 regular meeting of council for the purpose of holding a public meeting under the Planning Act for Wayne and Doreen Gingrich, and this is for a zoning amendment. All in favor? Great, thank you. Just give me 2 seconds, I'll open up my here we go. Great. I will call this public meeting to order. I do not have any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Councillor Burke. It sounded like you said no.
No, sorry.
That's great. Thank you. Councillor Yake.
No.
Councillor Hearn.
No.
Great. And of course, if you find out that you do have pecuniary interest, you can disclose it at that time. And with that, I will pass it over to you, Jessica, I guess.
Sorry.
Or Karen, maybe you can help me
Karen
out.
probably do, yeah.
Sorry,
she'll
I
do her-
don't have the cheat sheets in front of me.
Okay, sorry. I was just, I know that Wayne Gingrich was going to phone in and I don't see him here as attending the meeting. I believe Mr. Metzger is on the line who also wants to speak. He's on by phone.
Okay,
Okay, so I see he's taken his mute button off. Okay, so
do we know who 226 is?
no,
That be Wayne, do you know, or?
that's not the number he told me he was going to call in from. If it is, I have no way of knowing. We always tell them to call in from the number that they've identified for us. It's easier when they log in on a computer. It's difficult when they to know who they are when they just call in on my phone. Okay, so I missed that.
I guess the owner applicants are Wayne and Doreen Gingrich, and the location of the subject land to the proposed amendment is described as part lot 20, concession 6, and known municipally as 8891 concession 7. The property is 30.4 hectares, 75.1 acre in size, and is currently occupied by an open wash pit and 2 steel-clad barns. The location is shown on the map attached. The purpose and effect of this application amendment is to rezone a portion of the subject land from agriculture zone to agriculture commercial AC-24. zone to expand the area of operation of the existing livestock transportation facility business. Additional relief may be considered at this meeting. Were there notices sent out, Karen?
Notices were mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property, as well as to the applicable agencies. Signage was posted on the property on October 15th, 2021.
Great. It sounds like Mr. Metzger is trying to ring through. I keep hearing a kind of a phone.
I'm not sure if he's on hold. He just should be able to speak. Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, then I will we'll go to the presentation, and thank you, Jessica Rahim, for joining us. Floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you. So this application is before us today in order to rezone a portion of the subject lands from agricultural to agricultural commercial site specific. A portion of the subject lands is already zoned AC-24, which permits the livestock transport business. The applicants have requested to rezone or reconfigure the existing AC-24 zone on the subject lands to accurately capture the area of operation for the business and to allow for the construction of a new shop with an office in it. So the existing AC-24 zone was placed on the subject lands in 2002 by a previous owner, and the current owners would like to continue this use, but just in a different location on the property. Planning staff have no concerns with the reconfiguration of the AC-24 zone, as the business still maintains appropriate setbacks to the neighboring properties, and the business continues to be a farm-related use that is directly related to the farm operations in the area. I've attached a draft bylaw to my report for council's review today, and if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Great, thank you, Jessica. Any questions from the committee?
Just before we go ahead, I'm just wondering if Mr. Metzger, would you hang up and call in again? And I'll move you into the meeting. I don't know why we're having difficulties being able to hear you. If you could hang up and call in again, that would be great. Go ahead, Steve, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. Thanks, Karen, for that. Is there any questions from the committee? This seems like more of a kind of a housekeeping, so to speak. Would that be correct, Jessica?
I think it looks like the applicants came in for a building permit, and through that it was kind of determined that where their current business operation is didn't correctly capture where the zoning is. So yeah, definitely more of a housekeeping. It's the same use that they're continuing on the property.
Great, thank you for that. I don't know if Mr. Lawrence Metzger, are you with us now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yep.
Go ahead, Lawrence.
No, this is Wayne.
Oh, hello, Wayne. How are you? Sorry.
Good. I've been listening in. I heard that you guys are trying, but I've been listening for a long time here.
Oh, okay. Do you have any comments or questions for us?
No, not at all. I'm just listening in, and if you've got any questions, I'll try to answer to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, great. Thank you. I know Jessica and I just had a quick chat. It's more of a housekeeping is what we're here today for. Like, I mean, I know where your business is and drive by it almost weekly. So just a bit of housekeeping and tidy things up a bit for you on your site there.
Oh,
yeah, that's what we're.
Sorry, go ahead, Karen.
I'm sorry, I had renamed Mr. Metzger. It's Mr. Gingrich that's on the line, correct? I'm sorry.
Yes, the applicant. Yep.
There you go.
Great, thanks. I don't have any questions. Again, anyone from committee? Go ahead, Councillor Hearn.
Not a question, just a comment. This application does seem totally consistent to the intent of the provincial policy statement. And the operation is definitely something that the agricultural community needs and relies on. So I absolutely believe that this should move forward. I'm very familiar with the property too, like Councillor McCage is. I used to take hogs there many years ago, but not in recent memory, thank goodness. So totally believe that this should be supported.
Great, thank you very much. Seeing no other questions or comments, the bylaw will be considered at the regular council meeting following this public meeting, and persons wishing notice of the passing of the bylaw must submit a written request. I guess I should have said that a little bit earlier, but nonetheless, it's done now. That's great. Thank you very much. Then I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Hearn and seconded by Councillor Burke that the public meeting of November 8th, 2020 be adjourned at 2:50 p.m. All in favor? Great. Thank you very much. And yeah, that we will deal with this later on in our council meeting. So thanks very much, Wayne, for sticking through the previous presentation and stick around for more exciting news to come.
New way of business.
That's right. All right.
Thank you.
We will resume the regular meeting of council. I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Yake and seconded by Councillor Hearn that the Council of the Corporation of Wellington North resume the November 8th, 2021 regular council meeting at 2:51 p.m. All in favor? Great, thank you. So notice of the bylaws arising from the public meeting. Bylaw number 106-21 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 66-01 being a zoning bylaw for the Township of Wellington North, part lot 20, concession 6, known municipally as 8891, concession 7, for Wayne and Doreen Gingrich. I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Hearn that bylaw number 106-21 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 66-01 being a zoning bylaw for the Township of Wellington North be read a first, second, and third time and enacted. Part lot 20, concession 6, known municipally as 8891, concession 7, Wayne and Doreen Gingrich. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the recommendation vote. All in favor? Great, thank you. That passes. Thank you very much. So I guess we'll go into the adoption of the special meeting of council on October 20th, 2021, and the regular meeting of council October 25th, 2021. I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Yake that the minutes of the special meeting of council held on October 20th, 2021, and the regular meeting of council held on October 25th, 2021 be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Thank you very much. Any business arising from the previous meetings of council? Councillor Burke?
No.
Councillor Hearn? Councillor Yake?
No.
Thank you, and I have none either, so we'll go into our items for consideration. And I'll leave the floor open to the council members for now. Go ahead, Councillor Burke.
I'd like to have 1B pulled and 6B.
So 1B is the walking tour report. and
Yes, please.
Secretary, yep.
6B is
The
Winter maintenance.
winter maintenance, OPS 2021-040.
Thank you, Councillor Burke. Dan or Lisa? Go ahead, Councillor Hearn.
1C and 5B.
1C.
C is the volunteer engagement report. And I'm sorry, did you say 5B?
I think she did, yes.
5B.
Yes.
It's going to be the OMPF partnership funds.
That's correct.
Thank you, Lisa. Dan?
Yeah, 1D on page 215.
Sale of 525 Dublin Street Medical Clinic.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Dan. I wouldn't mind having a look at 2F on page 263. Sorry, where are we?
That's the BMX Skateboard Park Ad Hoc Advisory Committee.
Yes. Sorry, yeah. And 2E as well. The specifically, I would say recommendation 2. Is that possible to do, Karen? Split that up.
And that's the appointments to the skate park evaluation committee.
Yep, that's right. Thank you. And then 6A. Where is it? The Connecting Link Program application intake number 7.
Okay.
So just recapping, and Karen, hopefully you got a good list here. I have 1B, 1C, 1D, 2E, the second part, 5B,
For 2F as well.
or sorry, yeah, 2F, right, sorry. F, yep. Sorry, so 5B, 6A, and then 6B.
Right, that's what I had marked.
That sound good to everyone else there? All right, good, thank you.
So you're gonna move, if you go to page, you go to page 10 of your agenda cover sheet, you're going to move the resolution, the recommendation to accept everything except what we pulled for separate discussion.
All right, just getting there now, sorry. So adoption of all items not requiring separate discussion. I have the motion is moved by Councillor Hearn and seconded by Councillor Burke, that all items listed under items for consideration that we just previously listed on the November 8th, 2021 council agenda, with the exception of those identified for separate discussion, be approved and the recommendations therein adopted. All in favor? Great, thank you very much. All right, on to 1B, the cemetery walking through. I'll open the, let me just get to that.
So just ask Morgan to turn your camera on and your mic. There she is.
Sorry, I'm just getting to that page now. Sorry, just 2 seconds.
It's a big agenda. There's a lot of pages.
Yeah, and it's a little bit slow over here on my end, so just if you can bear with me 2 seconds. Sorry, I just got to get to it. And that presentation was long. Where are we here? Sorry, just
Not to push you along, Chair McCabe, but I believe it was Councillor Burke that pulled the report. She maybe
yeah. I was
has.
going to say if you wanted to go ahead, Councillor Burke.
Yeah, well, you're getting yourself organized there, Councillor McCabe.
Thanks.
So I pulled this report for two reasons. One, I just wanted to congratulate Morgan with the scaled back event again this year for cultural days. I just wanted to highlight Morgan's report. The accomplishment for the Mount Forest Historical Walking Tour was nothing less than amazing for summer students to take on. You did an amazing job. My family members and I took the tour. She had some amazing stories, and she really held the attention of the group that we were in. There were a lot of really great comments about the stories that she told us. And we even had to take one of my family members around to show them some of the highlights on the tour. So again, thank you so much, Morgan. I can't wait to do your downtown Christmas tour and the stories you'll come up to tell us in 2022. So thank you so much. So it was a win for the cultural roundtable and your food donations for the Arthur and Mount Forest Food Bank. They will really appreciate those as well. So thank you very much, Morgan.
Thank you, Councillor Burke.
Thank you for that, Sherry. Morgan, do you have anything more to add? Sounds like it was a resounding success. So
yeah, thank you for your time. And yeah, I think it was a good success. I think people enjoyed it, and we were able to raise almost $500 for each food bank. So yeah, success.
that's fantastic. Thanks very much for your effort. And like Sherry said, and I'll echo, it was a job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a recommendation moved by Sherry and seconded by Councillor Yake that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information report CLK 2021-027, being a report on the Mount Forest Historical Cemetery walking tour. All in favor? Thank you very much. Maybe next year or the next time Halloween is on a Saturday, it'd be a good idea for the cemetery walking tour as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Morgan.
Thanks.
Moving on to 1C on page 212. I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Hearn and seconded by Councillor Burke that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive for information report CLK 2021-028, being a report on the volunteer engagement program, and further that Council, in recognition of the important role that volunteers, not-for-profit organizations, and community groups play in our municipality, approve a $10,000 financial contribution to continue the program in 2022. And Lisa, I believe you brought this up, so I will give you the floor.
Sure, thank you. Only reason I brought this up is it seems to me that the path that we're on to recognizing our volunteers is working. It's definitely helping, and I couldn't think of a better way to spend this money and continue going forward with what we're doing and make it even better.
Thank you for that. And it's indeed, I don't know where we would be without our volunteers, our service groups and community groups, and the people that volunteer for those groups as well. We have many amenities and I would say jewels in our community because of our volunteers. And I know we had a great turnout for our volunteer lunch about a month or so ago. And yeah, looking forward to continuing that and continuing to recognize the importance that volunteers, the role they play in our community. So thank you very much for that. And any other questions or comments? All right, I will call that recommendation to to vote. All in favor? Thank you very much. And excuse me, moving on to, I believe it's 1D, page 215. You'll bear with me here for a minute. I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Yake and seconded by Councillor Hearn that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive report CLK 2021-026, being a report on the sale of land known as 525 Dublin Street Medical Center, shown as Part 1 on 61R-8529. And further, that the council declares the land as surplus to their needs. And further, that the mayor and the clerk are authorized to sign the bylaw to enter into the agreement of purchase and sale with 2810243 Ontario Inc. And further, that the mayor and clerk are authorized to sign the bylaw to enter into a municipal capital facility agreement with the 2810243 Ontario Inc. and North Wellington Healthcare Corporation. And further, that the mayor and the clerk are hereby authorized and directed to take such action and authorize such documents as in the municipal solicitor's opinion are necessary or advisable to complete the transaction. Dan, I will open the floor to you. I believe you brought this one forward.
Yeah, just a question, I guess, either like to Karen or Mike. I know there was, we had a report on this back in July. So we declare it surplus and we can just sell it, turn it over to North Wellington Healthcare. Like, we don't need to do anything else. Like, what's the purpose of declaring it surplus if you're just selling it to a kind of a known buyer already? I don't know if that's to Karen or Mike.
You want to direct that to Karen? Sorry, Dan.
Well, Karen or Mike, I guess. I'm not too sure. Mike, I think Mike gave the report in July.
It's more just semantics and wording in the municipal act. You need to have that declaration that it's surplus to our needs.
Okay.
Even though, like, I mean, anytime that we get to a point where we're selling land, we know who we're selling it to because we have an agreement of purchase and sale. We still declare it surplus to our needs so that we can sell it. And we know who we're selling it to because it was in that agreement. The agreement years ago.
The earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. And the price has been determined to be $55,000. Okay. All right. Nope. That's all I need.
By that agreement.
By the agreement. Yeah. From 2001. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Dan, any other questions or comments?
No.
Seeing none, I will not reread that recommendation and I will call for the vote. All in favor? Great, thank you very much. I believe we're on to 2E. I guess, would you call that II, the second part?
Correct.
Sorry, just getting there. Sorry, there's a lot of ripping and running around here. 1 second. So would I read the first part of that and then just II, Karen, is that?
Just read the recommendation that's beside II.
Okay, great, thank you. I have a recommendation here moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Hearn that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North approve the following appointments to the Skate Park RFP Evaluation Committee as recommended by the Rex Park and Leisure Committee. We have Al Rollins, Glenn Cheney, Jack Baker, Lisa Hearn, and a municipal staff member to be named. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring this forward, to see if we can name that municipal staff member today, Mike, or do we wait for a voluntold or volunteer, or how would you go about this to fill that last position for the municipal staff member?
Through you, Chair McCabe, I think the intent was to basically leave it until the RFP actually was out and not to presuppose who would be appointed, but yeah, we could, if that's council's wish, we can make a determination, but I think the idea was to leave some flexibility from a staff standpoint in terms of workload, who's most engaged, who has the experience. It's something that we would determine once we actually have the proposals in hand.
All right, okay, that sounds good to me. Any questions or comments to that? Thanks for that clarification, Mike. That's kind of what I was looking for. I wasn't sure if we were doing that today or waiting, so. It's really, I do have to give a shout out to all the people that are on that RFP evaluation, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jack Baker. He's just a great young member of our municipality and very, very engaged in the Arthur Lyons or Brent Barnes Arthur BMX skateboard and BMX park. So really, really happy to have him on. I think it's great to have youth and hopefully give them a taste for maybe perhaps later down the year sitting in one of our chairs. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, just another word about Jack. Wow. I mean, he is just so impressive. As I think I've said this to a few people, but Jack is more mature than I am sometimes. So hopefully he takes an interest in some municipal politics or something in the future. But yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. And it's great to involve the youth in our municipality, and I hope there's more opportunity for them to be involved as well, and in more projects down the road. So I have that recommendation in front of us. I will call that to a vote. All in favor? Thank you very much. And we'll move on to 2F. And this is the Skateboard Atahar Committee Advisory Committee on page 263. Have a recommendation that the council and the corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive the minutes of the Arthur BMX Skateboard Park Ad Hoc Advisory Committee meetings held on October 19th, October 27th, and October 28th, 2021. And I will say that was moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Yake. And I will open the floor. I was just going to say we had I pulled this one out, and Lisa, you'll probably chime in here and help me out as well. We had good meetings, and then we actually physically went out, a bunch of us, to measure the area. You'll see that in your package. I think we've got a great area. There is some concern perhaps with the volleyball court that is that's there currently. We have to wait to see what the RFP, how many people come back or companies come back with the RFP proposals. Each proponent that comes back will have 3 different designs. So we'll actually see what kind of proposal they have for the area that we are in. We will be leaving the Optimists horseshoe pits in. We've talked to them and they've agreed to go to 6 instead of 8 that are currently there. They'll probably hopefully be moved closer to the pavilion, the eastern fence by the pavilion. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the results of the RFP, seeing what they come up with in the area that is kind of allotted for them, and what amenities that we can have with them. So just wanted to bring that forward and see if anyone had any questions or comments about what went on the 27th and then again on the 28th. Lisa, do you have anything to add? I know you're the chair, so have at it.
Well, you summed it up pretty well, Councillor McCabe. We did have quite a number of meetings. We put an awful lot of thought into into the location and kind of set out that block. It's not necessarily, I mean, we don't know what's going to come back, what the proposals will bring, and how it will be laid out, but that does set aside a block to give them something to work with. I'm excited about the central location. I think it's great for kids. I've toured so many skate parks now that it seems that the ones that work really well are just the hub, and there's a lot going on. The kids are excited, engaged. So anyways, we put quite a bit of thought into it, a lot of fast meetings to keep everything on schedule as far as the timelines go. And I would like to thank staff for all of those quick meetings that we threw at you, because you guys were awesome. But I said 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, that's for sure. Thanks, Councillor Hearn. I know having a meeting at 9 in the morning and then going to have a look at it physically and measure stuff and actually rope it off and take or measure it off, sorry, and then have a meeting the next day. The flexibility to keep this on track in time was very much appreciated, I think, by the Lions and by the rest of us. So thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I will call that recommendation to vote. All in favor? Thank you very much. And moving to, I believe it's 5B. And Lisa, I believe you pulled this forward. I'm just kind of trying to get to it right now, so I will give you the floor.
Switch my mind off of the skate park and over to finance. Just would like to say that, it's encouraging seeing the increase in funding. It's not enough. Clearly, it's not enough. If you go back to 2005 and account for inflation, it would have to be double to be the same. But this support from our government does acknowledge the special kind of financial challenges that rural municipalities have, and we don't have the density. So I really do appreciate this extra funding that we received. It shows that some of the work that we have done, lobbying for extra funding is helping our various associations. I know the Ontario Federation of Agriculture has been lobbying about it for decades, probably, well, since 2005 anyway. And as well, our local Federation of Agriculture has been lobbying quite heavily, and we're having meetings all the time. So it's encouraging that there is some acknowledgement here. And when I looked it up, most of the 7 lower tiers here were receiving some additional money under the rural communities component of this funding. So anyways, that's it for my spiel.
Thank you. And I have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive this information. Report TR 2021-018 being a report on the 2022 Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, OMPF, allocation. I'll say that was moved by you, Councillor Hearn, and seconded by Councillor Yake. Any other questions or comments? I think any money that we get back out of our own pockets is great to having on hand, and will be very well good money spent in the township as well. All in favor? Great, thank you very much. Speaking of funding from the province, we'll go to 6A. I don't know why I picked the longest recommendations to read out today. I was hoping that Mayor Lennox would be the speaker. Anyways, I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Hearn that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive OPS 2021-039 being a report on the MTO Connecting Link Program application intake 7 be received. Sorry, something just popped up on my screen. I thought something went on with the meeting here. Sorry. And further, that the council support and direct staff to submit an application to the MTO's Connecting Link Program for the resurfacing of Highway 6, Smith Street from Conestoga to Wells Street in Arthur. And further, that the council agree to fund the township's portion of the project cost as recommended by township staff, as well as support the project schedule detailed within the application. I will say that was moved. Sorry, I think I said that was moved already and seconded. I just wanted to bring this up because I know I've had a number of residents in Arthur ask us why we stopped where we stopped in Arthur and why aren't we going further out to Wells Street. So this is welcome to see, and I know that the residents will see it as well. One of the questions I had asked, or someone had asked me on the weekend actually after seeing this, was the infrastructure underneath the road resurfacing of this portion of Highway 6. I don't know, Mike, you and I have chatted about this, and you've said it in the past before, where you hate to pave something and then rip it up 2 or 3 years later and have to redo the infrastructure underneath. So my question is, I guess more to you, Matt, is yeah, this is just for the resurfacing, and the infrastructure underneath is good to go, or I'll leave that to you. And sorry, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair McCabe. I think township staff would be investigating the underground infrastructure between now and 2023. But by and large, the water and the sanitary infrastructure we feel is in good condition. So it'd be more sort of spot repairs is what we would be doing or intending to do, very similar to what we did in the Arthur Connecting Link project this summer.
Great, thank you very much. That's kind of what I was thinking, but just wanted some clarification on that. So thanks very much, Matt. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's all the items for consideration, I believe.
No, there's 6B, the winter maintenance.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry.
Jerry had called that one.
Yep, sorry, I apologize for that, Sherry. I had to flip my page over.
That's okay.
Just get to it. Right, I have a recommendation here. Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Liek, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North receive OPS 2021-040, being a report on the township's winter maintenance program, be received, and further that the council approve the draft winter maintenance information dated November 8th, 2021, and further that council direct staff to publish the updated winter road maintenance information document on the township website. I will say that was moved by you, Councillor Burke, and seconded by Councillor Hearn, and I will give you the floor, Councillor Burke.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to thank staff for the report. I always think that it's good to review this information from time to time. I just wondered if staff could highlight any changes that are being made to the winter maintenance program. And I also felt that it was important to note so that residents are aware, because not everybody checks out our website, that we do not provide a 24/7 service. So I'm not sure who wants to maybe highlight if there are any changes, but I did really think that it was important to highlight that that we don't provide 24/7.
Matt, I see you've opened up your video and microphone, so I'll pass it over to you.
Yep. Thanks through you, Chair McCabe, and thanks for pulling this report, Councillor Burke. The winter maintenance manual, really the large updates was to change the roads department structure. So there is still reference to some of the supervisor positions that used to exist a couple of years back, as well as update information with regarding some of our neighboring municipalities and just bring our fleet the fleet that's detailed within that document up to date. There wasn't any changes to level of service related to snow or winter control operations. So yeah, that was it was more of a housekeeping update. But yeah, to your point, we aren't a 24/7 operation. And if you know anyone who has a DZ license, we do have a posting out right now for seasonal winter control operators, because they are hard to come by. So we're working through that, but do appreciate this being raised, because it is not, today is nice weather, but it is the season, unfortunately, we're entering into.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call that recommendation to vote. All in favor? Great, thank you very much. That ends all of the, excuse me, items for separate discussion. Thank you very much for a fulsome discussion and questions and concerns. Any notice of motion this evening or this afternoon? Councillor Burke?
No.
Councillor Yake?
No.
Councillor Hearn?
Nope.
I have none, and I will go to the community group meeting program report. I'll start with you, Ward 1, Councillor Yake.
No, nothing right at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Burke?
Just that we have an aquatics meeting tomorrow. And I also wanted just to update, this isn't something that we deal with as council, but it is a community group that I am a part of. And just wanted to update everyone that the 100 women who care, even though we have not been able to get together and socialize and network through the pandemic, that group is still donating funds to organizations within Wellington or Upper Wellington County. And a donation was made to the VON on November the 4th for $9,800. So that is still going on. I don't have any other update or anything else, but we do have a meeting tomorrow with regards to aquatics.
Great, thank you for that. And that's a substantial amount of money. That's congratulations for that. Councillor Hearn.
I don't really have a whole lot to report. It's my Chamber of Commerce week. I have a couple of those meetings this week. Next week, Arthur BIA annual general meeting.
Now, is that open to the public if they registered, Lisa?
Sorry, my dog is barking. I think so. I would have to get back to him. There you go. Dale can answer.
Dale, go ahead.
Yes, Councilor McCabe, through you. Yeah, for the annual general meetings, notices have gone out and people can register. So for the Arthur one, it's virtual by Zoom. So we would send them the link. The Mount Forest BIA's meeting in person at the Mount Forest Sports Complex.
Great. Thank you very much, Dale, and thanks, Lisa. I have, well, you saw some of the recreation meeting in the Arthur BMX, so that's all I have for that. I have a meeting with Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority later next week, not this week, so before the next meeting of council. And that's pretty much all I have for now. Our mayor is not with us, so there's no committee of adjustment, or I don't know if there's any update from Wellington North Power. Mike, do you anything kind of to add to that or no?
Nothing jumps to mind from Wellington North Power at this point, no.
Okay, great, thank you. All right. I just have to scroll down to our cultural moment, if you give me a few seconds here. It's a long way down. Do I have to read the bylaws first, or I probably should do the
Yes.
cultural moment? Okay,
No, we read the bylaws first.
okay.
The recommendation.
Right, okay, so bylaw recommendations, moved by Councillor Yake, seconded by Councillor Hearn. That bylaw number 102-21, 103-21, 104-21, and 105-21 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Great, thank you very much. And now I will scroll back down to page 427, if you give me 2 seconds for our cultural moment. Just tap to, here we go. Cultural moment, a Kenilworth soldier's story of sorrow and hope. John Austin Vincent Deneen was born in 1917, son of Patrick Joseph and Ellen F. Bonedissel Deneen of Kenilworth. Austin joined the 24th Canadian Field Ambulance Royal Canadian Army Medical Corps in 1939 and served overseas for 6 years. One operation he served in was the brutal Battle of Monte Cassino. When asked about it by his son on the 40th anniversary, Austin was too overcome to reply. Many of Austin's friends and comrades were lost in that and other battles. In the spring of 1943, Private Deneen met an Irish Colleen. Colleen is, it's kind of funny, is an Irish Colleen, and the meaning of Colleen is girl, at a dance in Manchester. They were so taken with each other that he made sure that they met at many more dances. Margaret Jane Malloy, Peggy, soon checked out the church Austin attended, and then began a long courtship. The end of the European combat meant that Austin might be sent to the Pacific. So Austin and Peggy married on March 15th, 1945, and lived in London for a year. In May 1946, Peggy, pregnant and on her own, sailed to Canada to meet Austin's family in Kenilworth. They had become acquainted through correspondence beforehand. Peggy's due date was the middle of August. Austin hadn't been discharged yet, and there was great speculation about who would arrive first, Austin or the baby. Austin did arrive first and was in Canada when his son was born. A few weeks later, Peggy encountered one of the parishioners at Sacred Heart Church in Kenilworth. Mrs. Epoch asked Peggy what the baby's name was. Peggy replied that he was named Jerome after a friend of Austin's who did not return from the war. Mrs. Epoch said, "I was Jerome's mother." War leads inevitably to tragedy. Some tragic stories lead to hopefulness that brings individuals, families, and communities together. Those that have lost lives in war are remembered in innumerable ways by those who remain. This was edited by Austin Deneen's story, submitted by Gail Donald, Wellington North Cultural Roundtable, and with permission by Kevin Deneen. I couldn't think of a more appropriate week to have a story like this about our community. Arthur being the most patriotic village in Canada, and the number of volunteers of soldiers that went from Mount Forest, Damascus, Kenilworth, Arthur, indeed the whole township before it was under one Wellington North is innumerable, and I don't know if we can ever pay that price that they ultimately paid for us. With that in mind, I would suggest, if you have time, to check out on Forest and Arthur on November 11th. Our mayor will be in Mount Forest this year, and I will be in Kenilworth. And that is your cultural moment for today.
Just before you go into closed session, Steve, if you go to the last page of your agenda and go over the upcoming meetings.
Sorry, yeah, sorry, and what,
It's on page 13 of your agenda,
okay, sorry, let me.
right
just
at the
get up
top
there.
again.
Yeah, let me just get there. Here we go. Yeah, so I'll bring your attention to the meetings and notices and announcements. Like Councillor Burke said, the Mount Forest Aquatics Ad Hoc Advisory Committee is on Tuesday. Chamber of Commerce Directors Meeting is on Tuesday as well at 7 p.m. Arthur Chamber is on Wednesday, November 10th at 5:30 p.m. Mount Forest Business Improvement Association Annual General Meeting is on Wednesday, November 17th at 8 a.m. Arthur BIA Association Annual General Meeting is also on the 17th, but at 7:30 p.m. The regular council meeting will be November 22nd at 7 p.m. And we have a Rec Parks Leisure Committee on December 7th at 4 p.m. And then the first meeting in December for our regular council will be on December 13th, which seems outrageous that we're already talking about the last month of 2021. So with that, I have, where are we? I just gotta go back to the closed meeting. I have a recommendation here.
Councilor McCabe, just before you leave the upcoming dates, I just wanted to circle in with council as it relates to upcoming conference dates. A lot of the conferences are trying for the most part to get back to in person. So I just wanted to highlight those dates for council in terms of consideration about attendance. The Good Roads Conference is February 27th, and they are going back to in person. It's at the Royal York in Toronto. The Roma Conference is January 23rd to 25th. It's going to remain virtual this time around. And the AMO Conference is August 14th, 17th. So it's a little ways off, but did want to get those on council's radar for consideration in terms of attendance. I know it's been a bit of a challenge over the last couple of years with the restrictions in place, but it does look like there is some opportunity to attend in person and get the benefits of those type of conferences if council's interested. Staff can certainly get some more information.
Great, thanks, Mike. I know, I think I went to the Ontario Good Roads Association my first year as a councillor, and it's been quite a while since I've been back, and it's nice to see that they're going to try and do it in person, and then Roma as virtual. So thank you for that. And if you have any questions, council, I would say direct them to Mike for more information on OGRA and Roma. Thank you for that. I will have to rise and go into a closed meeting. Do I have to read the whole thing, Karen, or just the recommendation?
Just the recommendation.
Okay, great, thank you. I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Yake that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Wellington North go into a meeting at 3:38 p.m. that is closed to the public under subsection 239, Part 2 of the Municipal Act 2001, specifically proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. I guess, do I need to read the reports as well, or?
No, they're listed for information only.
All right, thank you. I have that recommendation on the floor. All in favor? Thank you very much, and thank you all the staff attending today, and have a great afternoon and a great week, and stay safe. And should I give about 5 minutes per people, and then we'll go into the close. So we'll say if we can come back at 3:45 p.m., we can go into closed.
Okay, I'll stop the recording and I'll move people out of the meeting. Thank you.